And back to the proposal, like the process. So I gave a slight impression of how successful or kind of successful it has been, the process of doing this. On the link, you can also join. This is, if you never used it, you don't actually, I think you can use a guest account to also, not I think, you can use a guest account to create sticky notes, to do brainstorm, ideate, and follow this process. On the left side, I placed a YouTube playlist. So this has been like an ongoing thing, have been doing it quite a while, recording sessions. Most of them are also edited so like chapterizing and putting some information below the chapter, so what it's about. So maybe you will find a topic. And I don't remember, but I'm feeling I have a video of the DAO question and been like trying to create a problem statement for some kind of DAO problem, and it might maybe give some insight or inspiration. How could you word your problem statement? If somebody is like in the meta level interested to see how is this like process is being improved and how to help also others to use this, or have some feedback to improve the proposal template itself or the session, then there is also project management part, also open source. There is also list of all the videos and all the behind the scenes things what go into creating these kinds of events and sharing them out. But the main thing is, so why it's even called mini proposal? The main call is that at first I felt I needed some kind of restrictions to make sure that I'm not going too wide and too broad and like being all over the place. So mechanisms to scope down my problem, I was thinking, okay, I need a limit of like $3,000 or something, and I need to be able to complete it in 2 weeks. But yes, you won't be able to do that DAO in like 2 weeks and just $3,000. But this like a mindset took me down like in a thinking, okay, how to scope down a problem itself, like how to go specific, how to go into something what you can take action on in next weeks or next months. And from that, you build on, like once you get like one problem statement, one specific thing, one specific solution, how to address it, and then have this entire planning behind it. So let's say we have the problem statement scope down. For example, we can take like, I want to change agriculture, but then you go like root cause analysis. Okay, I want to change how, like educate people how to grow plants on a specific land area in a way it's sustainable. So you have like 2 years of cycle of one plants, and then 1 year you have something different, what like gives nutrients to the ground floor, and then you can repeat it. And be like very specific of what you're doing. Then the solution is that like the educational program for that specific thing. Then you have like the title for the proposal and what speaks to the problem itself, and maybe some branding here. If you have like like you mentioned, Jakob, you want to have a DAO, maybe you want to have like a branding that DAO name, but then you have like 4 or 5 different proposals where in one area you talk about, okay, how do we get the community together? In another area, what could the community do? Like 2 different proposals, perhaps we solve this or solve that. And then the 4th one is that developing a sustainable application, what we all use, what like a standards we are going to play on.
Okay.
And then you would want the branding so that when the voters and advisors see that, oh, that Jacob DAO, then we know that all of these 4 different proposals are related to the same thing and have like this visual effect. But yeah, that's the first 3 things what we also need for this submission. But then when you have the scope down idea, you start to think about teams and the tasks they do, some example stuff, then you already generate quite a nice list. You could pretty much copy paste to other proposals too, if there is a lot of overlapping work, because you do need to create some specific documents, you need to organize, you need to coordinate, you need people who coordinate, you need to people who announce stuff, you need project manager, you need administrators. All of these things would be nice to put down, because then in a later we will get to that in a later stage. We pretty much have like estimations and budgeting. But once you have like this like a overview of what kind of roles you have and what kind of tasks you might be doing, and then in your head there is like a bigger concept of what you're about to do, and then there is like again a meta level where we think about, okay, what kind of proposal it is. So you will say, is it a business idea? Is it a community idea? Well, I mean, like a community proposal, or is it an educational proposal? So whoever is the reader, it's usually like what I used it as a first sentence to what you're reading now is this. It's this thing. So they have like the reader already changes their perspective of what they're about to read. And some tagging here, which is also a community like incentive that we want to somehow like connect proposals, even though we cannot do it effectively or at all in the idea scale. Community still does some kind of like connecting or collaborating on semantics and on the like connections on different tools. So thinking early of like a hashtags pretty much is a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
In chapter 6, we will talk about like target audience, who is a target audience, and is it a growing ecosystem? Like is the audience growing? So when you want to educate, let's say, Africans, then you probably will have what the base layer scope we had, and to teach how to like cultivate the land, and you know that it has like an effect that more and more people, because this is a needed thing, that there might be a lot of people, but you don't want to maybe do it on like Western society where the knowledge is already there and the standards is already set and they already know. So this will help you to make sure that you know who the audience, like who is your audience. Defining success, here are like mission statements, goals, so what you want to have as a result, and this has to also be thought through in a sense that when you get funded with the proposals, your primary goal is to fulfill what you wrote down there. So this is the thing to add. In the later stage, we also have some key performance measurements you want to take. So here is like a web map of examples, what to think about capital, users who going to use the tool, and maybe some feedback. So because we are not just after revenue, we are also after like intention. So there might be like a process and feedback other metrics you want to measure. So in a feedback, for example, is that every time, let's say, if you have this educational program to the people, then at the end of that, I don't know, meeting or let's say it's a virtual meeting, you ask, okay, did it help you? What was your problem? If you will rate it to 1 to 5, how useful it was, and what would make it like a 5th. But then you can use that rating itself as a KPI to, if you could do it ongoingly, you can show that it is working. You are around 4 or 5. If it's going to drop, then you know something is failing. But and I don't know, it's a KPI what to show, and people and you will see the intention behind it.
Okay.
Something happened. One thing also to notice is I added operational KPIs. So this is a situation what I stumbled upon when my proposals got funded, that the system changed in a coordinator program. So coordinator program is funded proposals, and they ask you to like show your publicly your KPIs, what you wrote down in proposals, and you might find yourself in a situation where you say that, yes, I have this user feedback rating because and then you have this like how many users joins the event, and let's say how many users downloaded the PDF or whatever, like these different KPIs. But you haven't done any of the workshops yet, because after you get funded, you might actually be in a situation where you are creating the documentation, you're doing the coordination, you're pulling the people together to have this amazing event. And the first month or the first 2 months, you might have nothing to show to the community. So this would be a good idea to also add like operational KPIs. Since I'm coming from project management, I usually use tasks or time management, how many hours or spent something. But that is also a nice thing to show, that you show that something is going on. The result tasks are done, are created, or completed, or cancelled. Hours are spent by this or that department or a person. So then you will still have something to show or measure when you're not yet in the working version. Right. Yeah, so that's the KPI part. Then one section is for experience and flowcharts. So this would start create the flowchart starting with the excitement, the way person first becomes aware of experience, what captures their attention. So basically a user journey, like how he gets in, what is the first thing he encounters, what will fascinate him, what are the things. And so if you think through this, through your process, when you before already knew that, okay, these are the KPIs I want to take, these are the roles and tasks I'm going to do, and then leverage that information you previously wrote down, and these are the tools you use for the user experience. So keeping that in mind, you have like, I know that I'm going to onboard them with this Google form, maybe a YouTube video, maybe a private message in Telegram somehow. And then, yeah, these are like first interaction, and then I will engage them with some emails or some kind of another Google form. So basically I have that user journey of how he gets into this and how he lives and what he takes out when he leaves. And almost final chapter is estimation. So this is where you take the previous roles and tasks and then create a list of that and assume how much hours it should take you to create that Word document or that form. And if you sum it all up in the end, you will basically have your proposal budget, what you should ask. This is like the minimum proposal and budget. Also, it suggests to add a buffer, so you never know up and down, and then you also have to figure out the hourly time you kind of pay. What is interesting, it's hard to measure. Like everybody in their nationality pretty much has to know what is their hourly payment, because when I talk to Germans, they're like, yep, 60 hours per hour. But when I talk to Vietnamese, 5 hours per hour, but same word, same thing. And so you get so different results. But I do suggest to bring it up over 15 euros per hour, because I actually have gotten less rating when I ask money. One funny thing, okay, so this thing I'm showing you right here, this is a proposal workshop, which actually also got funded by in the idea scale. And I asked around $15 per hour, and I got bad rating from few people because they said, I don't know, is it a scam or not, because you asked too little money. And
yeah, it depends on location.
And so I guess we should have some kind of slowly moving towards global standard. And I don't know where is that limit, but yeah, if you are from a poor country, maybe try to actually pay the president who gets paid in your country and, and start from there. But yeah, this is the full process itself. I created it before. If you does anybody have any questions, and yeah, let's for first. Does anybody have any questions?
Anna, you want to go first?
Um,
I was just saying, I already, go ahead. Go ahead, Anna.
what kind of questions? It's a very elaborate system you've got going here. Very nice.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I've already got my proposals submitted and I've answered your comments. So maybe I need to look at this and adjust. Do I need to resubmit a proposal?
No, you can edit.
Oh, I can
Okay.
edit.
Yeah, I suggest edit, not to create same proposal again, unless it's different.
Well, so I would do it like a draft number 3 or 4. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
if you have drafts, then yes, you can.
Okay, yeah. So I would look all this over and see if I need to adjust.
Look, yeah, my proposal needs a ton of work. So
Yeah.
Turbo.
Oh, yes. Okay.
A question here. Given that the idea basically of mini proposals was there from like the very beginning, like Fund 2, I'm curious to hear why you think it still hasn't actually happened, because we still continue to have this thing where people think people have preconceived notions, as you said, like someone thought it was a scam, like the ability to communicate stuff does not feel like it's actually reaching the people who would understand it, right? So for example, like, with the idea of mini proposals, I think I and a number of other people would be like, yes, I want this thing to go through and I understand it. I'm not going to write a thing and call it a scam, but yet at the same time there is this bottleneck of CAs, etc., or popular YouTube channels, etc., who then completely like subvert the idea of decentralized, an environment that is decentralized, that you can be able to have little pockets of people who believe in ideas of value and want to actually support it. But so far, like, I feel like unless the treasury is opened and from a smart contract standpoint that can be enabled, I don't, but I find it difficult to see how this particular change is going to come about. But I'm just curious to hear your thoughts about that evolution.
Yeah, I agree that, like, that to me, from my perspective, we have evolved quite more from Fund 2, but considering that back then I just like throw that idea out and tried it, create some kind of semantics, but then I didn't do like any marketing. I didn't share it. So if people don't even know to look at it, so it emerged again in Fund 3, or in Fund 4 actually. I think it emerged somewhere around when I started like actually doing the first funded proposals, and yeah, like, I don't know, already like thinking, okay, what could I do next? And then people felt like, okay, you could actually like educate, and then I had this like coordination, like swarm connections, and we were thinking, okay, what kind of events we want to have. So to me, it feels like it was only about like reaching out to showing what is capable, and it's a slow way to interact. Like I see right now 3 people seeing that, and then it might get to somewhere else. Like, hey, I just had this process. If you have some problems, it helped me. Check this guy out, or check this YouTube out, and I think it's slowly like building up the understanding that this could be a useful thing. I don't know, maybe there would be a faster way to, if you would blast it in Twitter and Reddit and everywhere else. But if you know me, I only do it in a Discord channel, and how much of them people are looking at? Not too much. So, so that's one thing. Another thing is, I think the Miro itself is a great tool, but it also takes practice to start using it. So I don't know, maybe it's just me thinking, but I have seen proposals and people who I never met before, but they look like they have all of these answers in the same, like in all of the answers I asked them in the proposal. So like it feels like, oh, they have like used it, but maybe it just came out that they're using it, and it's a coincidence. So I'm not sure like how much have this had an impact, but I think the notion of there are other methods what could be used to improve the proposal is already a nice impact. And another thing, I think, to scale it up to the level what it feels like you are waiting for, that more people start using, more people start collaborating, is then if you look at the Miro board, what this is actually is, all of that is prototype and educational thinking behind what this prototype would need to be good. But where it would be the next level is to actually take it some kind of interactive website where you have these drop downs or questions, and it has like guiding questions coming up, you answer, and it saves it and then brings back again to you later dates, and then automatically like already finds you resources what are similar. Because if I look through all of these proposals, I already see that I am able to, in some concepts, scope down by just copy pasting from other people, and they will have like a very like effective, like a modular system to create a proposal. In my mind, in few years, what I'm thinking is that I should be able to just like click, 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 like click together a proposal. But I think this is quite far in the future. But so for me, I think the fact that it's so raw and so prototypey for now is what it's holding it back, and the way it's being like showcased is only through me, who is very bad at marketing, and just it hops in the workshop, says what it is, and whoever joins in the room with these people, I go down the path and do something. So I think it's very slow, but this is how I like to do it, and I guess this is this is what.
Cool, man. Yeah, thank you for sort of elaborating or sort of communicating more. I mean, one of the things that I found interesting is even before the idea of mini proposals came out as a proposal, you know, I have no idea that was maybe fund 4 or 5 or whatever, but the idea of, hey, from an incentive standpoint, if we're talking about decentralized, it doesn't make sense to have this huge because what you just said, like about, you know, the prototyping and the drop downs and even within a website, all that is moot if the voting system, the inertia of the voting system, you know, the popularity contest aspect exists at that bottleneck where voting happens and information is distributed, which then leads to actual money from the treasury being distributed, right? So like for me, I suppose that's kind of, you know, that continues to be a thing that I think needs to be broken down and sort of broken out. Because going back to what you're saying about prototyping, to me, prototyping is only as valuable as it can be if there are stakes, if there's something at stake, right? Maybe doing this testing, maybe using like test ADA, in terms of just figuring out like the smart contract level stuff, because then you're one step closer to just flipping the switch and having it on mainnet and having real ADA going through it, kind of thing. So I feel like the closer it is to an environment that can thanks for sharing the board, by the way. The closer it is to like skin in the game, the better. And the further away we get from centralized bottlenecks, like from Fund2, the whole YouTuber popularity contest thing still continues, because it's so like this whole thing is quite limited in how it's implemented. But anyway, I'm gonna hop around the different rooms. But yeah, thanks for
okay. I thought I will show you something which is a proposal. Well, technically you can see it later. I'm also what you're speaking of, like having this ecosystem or environment. There is an idea of creating mini innovation fund, which is like a part of Catalyst, but totally different voting system, totally different way it works. It has like a 4-week cadence where every week, what you just showed you in here, like in the first week you have problem statement, solution, and title. I explain, we go through this workshop with few people, and then you have like this break for 3 days where the teams themselves have that do the same thing. They end up with the problem statement. Then they have like 1 hour meeting where we train them how to do a 1-minute pitch deck just for problem statement solution. And in the end of the week, people come together, and who are the people are few roles who are community advisors and proposals, and even if maybe some voters, and they come together, and every week they already rate the impact and the feasibility and what the metrics are. So you have it like every week you have like this entire catalyst cycle almost without the voting, and you have like a rapid feedback loop. And the idea is that you have already the treasury that every week the advisors already get also get like compensated for what they do. And then if you go to next week, we take new chapters, new pitch deck, and then they come back, they can already improve from the feedback, the previous stuff. And if they do this for 4 weeks in a row, in the 5th week, they pretty much present everything in one package, and then the actual voting starts, which has also 2 weeks. For now, what this will bring is ranked voting method. So all the participants, advisors, proposers, voters, and teams who like pre-register before or every weekend when the showcases, then you can register. You get like a voting key, and with that you have like in the end ranked option. Okay, what do I like this, and then I like this second, then I like this third, and from that result we will see like a different method how to experiment, like funding people, but mainly the idea is the same.
Cool, interesting. Thanks for sharing, dude. Yeah. I'm glad you're gradually making progress. Sorry. Yeah, if you need any feedback, just you know how to reach me. Just let me know.
Of course. I hope.
All right, cool. Peace. Take care, dude.
Bye.
And Thibaut, I have to leave just to go do some other stuff, but thank you very much.
Okay. See you.
Bye.
Well, I think I don't know how much I was on topic with high quality proposals.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good. Good.
But Henna, if you stay here, or Osgur, if you want, and you said you have a proposal, you can drop in your proposal statement, for example, because this is the most important thing in my mind, because it's the first thing people will see after title. And we could elaborate on why is that problem statement good, and maybe we together can slightly make it better.
So let me tell you what I want to do, why I'm in Catalyst to start off with. So I've got a proposal, but I'm not sure, or I've got something I want to do in Cardano, but I'm not sure if Cardano can do it. So I've developed a marketplace that's totally climate change orientated. So for example, I don't need people to be altruistic, like all the other speakers today said, like Scott said, he wants people to be more, to give more of themselves. I want it to be, people should do it because it makes them money. To, you know, save the environment. So I'm combining money with the environment into one system. And that's, I'm using 2 tokens and they work together, and it's a fairly complex situation. So I don't think I can do that. So what I thought to do as a proposal is to actually figure out, I'm trying to figure out as a proposal how to do this. So I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are central developers that also don't know if Cardano's got the capabilities to do what they need to do. And it's not just Cardano, it's other blockchains as well, because it's two coins working together and that kind of thing. So, and I need to do things on the wallet, and there's a lot of technical stuff that needs to happen. So I thought of, so my proposal, I'll just pop it to you in the, into the chat so you can actually see what my proposal currently looks like. And then we can take it from there. So I've got to change. So what I'm thinking of is how to bring centralized developers into the people who have developed something on a central database into this environment, and trying to figure out what the capabilities of Cardano is to actually meet those needs. So for example, if you have 2 tokens, how do they work together? How do they, all the technical stuff around that. So that's basically the idea.
Copying it on the mailbox, so don't have to go back and forth. Understanding moving climate change marketplace, tough tokenomics to Cardano. I need to understand the building blocks. I can't be the only one. I want to draw out a clear decision diagram for solution developers to follow: what, where, how, and why. Need for structured guide.
So I'm trying to create some kind of a structure on how to actually, what the blockchain capabilities are, and then share that as an open source kind of thing. So
your call is a research, pretty much a research paper in the first step.
Yes, that's more or less it. Yes, a research paper.
Because marketplace okay. Don't want to be I don't know how to say,
but it's not just it's not just a research paper. What I'd like to do is I'd like to have other people also try and have to learn something from that, not just a paper, but actually an interactive kind of thing where they can go on to a website and actually get results from what they select, you know, kind of thing.
So I'm gonna segregate the solution for now, to work on a problem statement, because I mean it has its style, but I think it's not. I think it's not that up to standard in my mind.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So, but let's take this as a first step, and let's add this. Like if you use this process, so this is your problem statement, and how it works is that you now answer. I'm gonna copy paste it here. Why is it the selected problem a problem? So we want to answer, why is it a problem that you actually have two problem statements in here? Why is the problem that you can't be the only one? And the second question is, what's the first actually? Why moving the climate? When climate change marketplace, why is it that you need to understand the Cardano building blocks? First thing, what I don't know, it doesn't really bother me, but I think it might bother quite many people, is that in both of these cases, you have the solution, the problem is your knowledge.
Yes.
And maybe like, is it the problem that you don't know this stuff, or is it the problem that we don't have a ready available solution for anybody to know this stuff?
It's probably more of a fact that I don't know this stuff, because if I have to think about it, because somebody should know what the capabilities are, right? So, for example, just one of the things I need to do is clean somebody's wallet out completely. Is that possible on Cardano or not? So it's something like that. For example, you know, I don't know if it can be done or can't be done.
What was the question again? Like,
can I clean somebody's wallet out completely, like make it zero, like take all the money that's in there and make it disappear, all the coins?
Well, technically it can if you send it, but you cannot destroy the art and tokens. You have to send it to another. I don't know, is it counts as a cleaning?
Yeah, well, I need to burn all the tokens. I need to burn everything that's in everybody's wallets at the end of each month. So is that possible or not? I don't know. And I've been through I've done the Plutus Pioneer program. I've done a lot of stuff, and I still don't know. And I'm sure I'm not the only guy that wants to know these things.
Yeah.
So maybe it would be better for me, just for me personally, it would be better just to use this platform, not as a financial gain, but to get the knowledge, to understand, can this be done somehow?
Maybe I don't know. I'm just trying now, like changing maybe course for you, but perhaps the problem here is that you don't have, not just you, but all of us, we don't have the place to just like a Google to ask these commonly asked questions, or like architectures, how to do this stuff, and your solution will be to create an archive like of these kinds of information, or a source area for these like technical alternatives. And you can go deep. We would not have to scope either. Do we want to go technical? Do we want to go to code level, or we want to stay high level? But
yeah, probably the full range of things, you know, because I've been developing for like many years, so it probably would have to be from a building block level, from a fundamental level, down to a code level. I'd like to, and that's what my proposal was, is to actually share that kind of knowledge with other people on a technical level. Can Cardano do all these things, you know?
okay.
And you don't know if there is something like that in Cardano, eh?
Not really. Well, I'm if sometimes there is code technical, I send people to Gimbal Labs. So but the rest of the time I'm just also speculating, because to me burning is, as much as I understood, you cannot delete stuff in blockchain, but what you can do is you can pretty much create the wallet, forget the private keys and send stuff there, and basically it's burning if you don't have any, and you can prove with smart contract that you didn't store or have, you didn't like capture the, what is that, the mnemonics to restore the value.
I know through the Plutus Pioneer program that I can burn tokens, so that is possible. But to burn tokens without somebody's input, to just go into his wallet and clean them out or burn them without him being involved in a transaction, that's a whole different kettle of fish. It's like, how do you do that? Because how this software works, maybe I should show you what this software does, but it's not really that important. But this one step, for example.
Yeah, to me, if you don't want an input, or like, I guess there has to be one first input to get transaction into a smart contract, and then it will. But that's a good question. How sophisticated the smart contracts are right now? Because I know that there are coming more and more forks to improve it, but I'm not sure what they're adding. So, but theoretically, in my mind, like smart contracts are the magic, that logic magic, that you can do anything at some point. Then I guess sending into the smart contracts, you have to have a way that the contract itself has control over all the wallets, but the only control they have is that at the specific end of epoch, something, all of that automatically agree or already like pre-signed to accept to send their ADA or tokens to somewhere else to basically burn.
Yes.
And in that smart contract, you can also add that none of these wallets in this smart contract cannot send like transactions out of that area of where they are, so they can send it outside, like pretty much locking, but only locking in that smart contract. So that in the smart contract there is all your friends tokens, or like all the wallets who are gonna suffer, and that one wallet who is gonna like steal everybody's else. Okay, that's we're going granular, but yeah, I now know what you mean by like not knowing of all the details, and these things might interest people. So climate change marketplace. So I guess there is. So you now like, okay, these two areas. One thing is that you need to know more of these technical terms, and there is not much of these things. But another thing is you're more related to climate change somehow. So can you elaborate how it's connected to climate change, or it's still actually overall?
So the whole project I want to do is related to climate change. So the only way we're going to solve climate change, I believe, is if we change the way the financial system works. So what I've developed is, and I've got a centralized system that's already up and running that I tried at a school that actually has the mechanics to do all these things, to put a climate change marketplace in play, whereby it saves, everybody saves money in the systems. For example, if you grow organic fruit and vegetables, you can sell them for a very high price, but the buyer pays a little bit, just a little bit of money. So the buyer, say I grow an avo for $1,000, one avo, and I sell it for $1,000. I might get a buyer for that avo willing to spend the money, the 1,000, but actually the buyer is paying nothing. So the seller is getting $1,000 and the buyer is paying nothing. And the reason for that is because the avo has been grown organically on a tree in my garden. But if it was a avo that was grown on an industrial farm and whatever, and I sell it for $10, then the buyer is also going to pay $10. So,
What the hell?
so I've created a system whereby it's cheaper for the buyer to buy organic and naturally produced stuff, and it's better for the seller to grow organic stuff because he can get a lot more money. So I'm changing the whole economic system with these two tokens.
Oh wait, but how are the value again? I think I got lost somewhere. Thinking, how do you incentivize the fact that if I organically grow in my backyard something, and when I sell it, then buyer doesn't buy it with the same price? How do I get the?
So I ask a lot of questions about how you grow it.
No, basically, if I sell it for $10 and he buys it for $0, how do I get the $10?
If you want to share your screen, I can show you a working system that actually does that.
Okay, go on. That would be interesting for others to see, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I still can't share. Host disabled participant sharing.
Oh, I
Don't know how to get that going. There you go.
Can you share now because I changed something?
Yes, there you go.
Oh, cool.
Okay, let me just move one or two things away here. I'll go. Okay, so firstly, I'm just going to show you how the system works. So the whole thing, that how the one person can get more money and the other one can pay less, is done by the magic of two tokens. And these tokens have got the same value. They run in the same currency, but they they've got the same physical value, but they work together to actually make a buying and selling agreement. So I'm just going to open up another tab here and just log in and add a product so you can actually see what I'm talking about.
Maybe you need to use private browsing, or your app works with session.
No, it works. No, it works. So I'll just sell I think of what pictures have I got here? Broccoli. I'll just add some broccoli here. Okay, and then I'll sell the broccoli and I'll go and get an image for it. And then it brings up a list of questions depending on what I'm selling. So in this case, it's fruit and vegetables, but it can be anything, but the questions get tailored depending on what I'm selling. So then I'm going to set a price, what I want to earn for selling this, and I'll set it at 10 units just to, or let's make it a high price. So this is our organic. So for 100 of this currency, I'm going to sell it. Now what it does, sure, the screen is, should I zoom in a bit?
No, I can see.
You can see. Okay, so you'll see the total price is 100 units. And then it's broken down into two portions. There's a base value and there's a creation value. Now those two values correspond to these two tokens over here, a base token and a can create token. So the first thing you must know, at the end of the month, what happens is I take all the money that's in this can create and I go and dump it, and I copy whatever's in the base into the can create. So essentially, if you do not use the money in this bottom one, you lose it. So you really want to spend the money out of this one, because also it's coming back at the end of the month. So again, when you see it, I had 105 in there. I went, I dumped it, and then I copy whatever's in the top value back into the bottom value.
Okay, so every time somebody sells that
at the end of the month,
unit
just at the end of the month. So every month this happens.
Okay, but how come? Okay, how the base value then increases or decreases?
So the base value is like a normal, you buy it on exchange, or you trade for it, or you do like a normal, like a normal ADA would. Okay. You would buy the ADA, you would do those. So what you want to do is you want to store your ADA, but you don't want to spend your ADA. You want to spend the scan create portion of the money because it's coming back at the end of the month. So your whole goal is to spend this money, because whatever you spend here, you won't lose, because you'll get it back from the base value. Okay, so base value is fixed value, and this is decided by the platform owner, I guess, or yes. So in the start, when the software starts, when you earn any money, when you sell something, say you get 100 units, you actually get it twice. It goes into your base and into your can create value. So when I sell the Avo, I actually increase the base value as well. Okay, so when you sell, you increase your base value, but when you buy, you only increase the can create. What you do is when you spend, you're going to spend from 2 coins. So depending on how environmentally friendly it is, currently I'm spending 99 from the base and 1 from the can creation. But when I ask how the soilers work, and I don't use a machine, I just use a man, now the values start changing. And then how fertilizer was used, and I didn't use any pesticides, and the water came from natural sources. I don't pack it, and I don't transport it. You must come and get it on site. And if that's the case, then what's happening is you're spending all the money from your creation portion and none of your base value. So essentially you're getting this for free, because at the end of the month, the creation is going to come back. Yep. Okay, and the creation is related to how much effort the person who sells had to put into to get you the food or that good. Yeah, or how much, because in reality, how the world works is nature also gives us things, but it's not in our economic system. Nature gives us sun, it gives us rain, it gives us all these things. But what this does, it includes that into the mechanism of selling and buying. So it actually includes the value that nature gives us into the transaction.
Okay. Okay. So what happens if when you choose to buy the vegetable, what CanCrate has like 100? So you lose your own CanCrate tokens, and the seller gets 100 CanCrate tokens, or the seller also gets the base level on CanCrate because he's selling.
So the buyer in this case will then, after that transaction, he'll have 1,005 tokens left, and in the CanCrate portion, and in the base token, he'll still have 1,100. So he wouldn't have spent anything from the base. He would only spend from the CanCrate, and at the end of the month, he'll have 1,100 again.
Yeah. Okay, but what happens with the seller?
So the seller, in the start, there's a bit of a sliding scale that happens because I've got a fixed amount of stuff. But in the start, the seller will then have in his base, if he had a 1,100 to start with, he'd have 1,200 in his base and 1,205 in his CanCrate.
So it doesn't matter if the buyer buys with all the CanCrate or all with other, so the seller always gets twice of both things because the selling did happen, like action did happen.
Yes, so the base increases for the seller, but it doesn't decrease for the buyer, or the other way around. Yeah. It increases for the buyer, but it doesn't decrease for the seller.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, we're actually creating money for the actual transaction, for the actual, and that will essentially, it does a lot of things. It gives people money for free because nature gave it to them. So if it might be valuable having an avocado tree in your garden at some stage, because you could sell it for the full amount. You could sell it for a lot of money and somebody would actually come and buy it, because if they don't spend this CanCrate portion of the money, it's going to disappear at the end of the month. So you really want to find products that are organic and whatever, because you can spend all your money on getting them for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I would be interested to see, because for now, from the outset, it looks like a very inflationary system. But if the people inside there, like they can also keep increasing the cost of their like values pretty much based on the need they have and amount they have.
There's a bit of a sliding scale that happens here because there's a fixed amount. It won't always stay at 100. It will decrease over time. And also, yeah, this spending side or the earning side. Let's just wait for this a bit. It looks inflationary, but there's a sliding scale. At some stage, we'll create less and less.
And then, so logarithmics and cut off pretty much.
Yeah, and then so you still want the value of these two working together, but it won't be 100% split anymore. As time goes on, the split will become less and less and less and less. So you'll get less free money over time. But to start the process off, you want to have an impact, and then over time it will get less and less. As more people start using it, it will be less and less, and everybody will just be used to having food that tastes better and are more organically grown, and it will change the whole environment of how people transact.
It's cool. Okay. Yep. Okay. So back to, okay, so that was nice, and people who watch the recording later will see something interesting what is being done. But going back to the goal of the breakout room itself, we'll try to.
I'm going to stop sharing.
I added there's one more question. It's like, why we need to incentivize climate change with money? So I guess you have been thinking about this.
Yes, yeah, there's a whole.
So what are the main reasons why we need to incentivize it with money?
I think we don't want to incentivize people by being altruistic, so they have to give something of themselves, or it must be a financial benefit for them to actually do climate change stuff, you know. So so that's the main objective, is to have a financial incentive to actually protect the environment.
Anything else? What you feel? So far, you missed the technical stuff.
Yeah, I miss technical stuff. Yeah.
I mean, Sofa joined the room, and he's genius. He would probably love to see your application, but that's later. Yes, we're gonna repeat and repeat.
Oh, who's this?
So
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
yeah.
What kind of proposal are you working on?
So at the start, the idea what he proposed is moving a climate change marketplace with tough economics onto Cardano. I need to understand building blocks. I can't be the only one. But this is not a problem statement he actually has. So we are working on that.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of what he has created is an MVP for like selling and buying goods, and for I feel like his scope is on like agriculture like type of stuff, and it's like a two tokenomic system with an inflationary like system where whenever you buy stuff, seller gets like double, but there has like a lot of like nitty-gritty details where how the tokens are shared and how the like tokens get circulated and refreshed and stuff like that. So I mean, it seems cool. For now, we answer the question why we need to incentivize climate change with money, because it has this like if effects with money. So it's not altruistic thing he's doing. There is a logic behind it. And I'm just trying to squeeze out one more statement why we need to incentivize climate change with money. What other effect it could have other than getting people to interested?
Well, it would save a lot of the environment. And also what it does is it makes people think about what they're doing. So just like what they're buying and selling. Also another thing, if I can add this.
Yeah, that last one I like, because the model he showed, the seller has options to choose, like does he package it, does he deliver it, does he use machine to grow the crops, and based on this.
I saw the proposal earlier. I had a look at it.
Ooh, okay. And yeah, that was nice thing that you have like you have a price, but the price consists of operational activities and actual value of the thing, and you can choose between, do you want to waste people's time or you want to waste the environmental time?
Yeah, looking at the cost of product beyond just monetary value. How much do you want to pay, and then not just in money, right? Is that correct?
Well, it's in money, but
Value or yeah, cost in
what
general.
I'm doing is I'm pricing the environment into the product, the environmental costs into the actual selling cost of the product or service. So environment gives us a lot of things. For example, it gives us fresh air and sunshine and water and all those things. And that's not priced into the economy. So what I've done is I've created a system whereby it is priced into the economy, or into that economy specifically.
If we would, I know none of you are in this mini proposal, but we could do a voting here. Sites, of course, it might get out of your scope, but if going through the mini proposal process, what I like to pursue is to try to get a specific point of what you're doing. And so from these 5 selections, what would you choose? What would the most meaningful thing? What speaks to the platform? Either having a shared knowledge base of the information, or actually talking about the product itself, which is financial incentive to get larger amount of people to get interested, or saving environment.
So for me, the first thing is to understand if this can be done on Cardano. So that's because I don't really know that thing. So that's why I think the statement should actually be how do I understand the limitations and the opportunities, and then share that with other people so that we can get to a place where I can share that knowledge with other people.
But then your solution cannot be whatever you're suggesting here, basically, because you are not sharing knowledge base here. So if you want to have your product to be seen, then I think you should be considering actually down here. But what you're thinking right now is not the wrong thing. You can always make a secondary proposal, which is like a supportive proposal to have this research for that product.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that if you're making that proposal, you won't be sharing, because then you need to find these answers, and then you need to start digging it. Yes. I myself is I guess I'm Cardano Maxim is yes, you can do everything.
Yes.
Don't take my word for
it. I think in the first one, the financial incentive to get people to change the environment instead of doing the altruistic stuff, because well, I would also say by bringing the financial, including the finance, making the environment financially part of the financial decision is almost the biggest thing for me to currently in our economic system, right? The whole financial system sees the environment as an externality, right? And I'm not, in this financial system, I'm not seeing the environment as an externality. I'm seeing it as a part of our transaction. And for me, that's the biggest part. Making the financial, or making the environment part of the financial transaction.
we are not using the transaction as part of the mental. I forgot the exact from word to word. I'm not genius in that. Transaction as part of the environment. How to finish it?
Environmental.
You said it better, but I forgot. So
I think it's the other way
Oh,
around, not considering the environment as part of the transaction.
yeah, we see it as an externality, but it's not an externality. It's
Yeah, it should be part of it, right? That's the whole. Now, if as a consumer, when I buy something, I'm only looking at the monetary cost for me, but I
Yes.
should also be looking at the environmental cost because it's also a cost to me.
Exactly. And in that vein, organic stuff should be cheaper than non-organic stuff, right?
Well, I
Because
guess
nature
that's
does
a,
more
that's a
of that
different. That's already a conclusion, I guess. But that's interesting. So maybe is that where you want to go? That that part is compensated.
Yes, and in this system, it is quite a lot. If you, like I told Tivo, if you sell an avo that's grown in your yard without watering or looking at anything for it, you can sell it for $1,000, and the buyer can pay nothing, but you'll get the $1,000, which is quite interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah.
but then again, do you get the, again, this is maybe semantics, but do you actually get the $1,000 because you actually get the 1,000 tokens, not the dollars themselves? So
yes, because
one token might not.
The whole reason you want to put this on the blockchain is that it's interoperable with other currencies. So you can exchange the base token for something else. So the base token is publicly tradable, but the can create value is not. So you can't trade that one, but you can trade the base one, and the base one could get more and more. So
yeah. Okay, we'll have to see that experiment, like actually, because the final token value will come from people who actually use real money to buy that token to get that food. And but yeah, technically then the sellers have to be like able to market that they use this platform, because else they're like, okay, fine, just give me the real money.
but also for the seller, it's much more profitable using this if they do organic farming. If they bring them, it would be much more profitable for them as a seller to actually sell on this platform.
Okay, so this is a second iteration for the problem statement. Do you agree with this one? We are not considering environment part of transaction, so that is the problem.
Yes.
And we could go even further. So what we just did was we create from this previous problem statement you had. I broke it down since you addressed actually 2 different points. That's why there is like so many different selections here. But you, for all of these, you pretty much ask why the problem you chose is actually a problem. And then if you, even sometimes it's like stupid to answer it, like obvious, it's this or this. But if you write down these obvious things, you actually return with much more logical answer, much more cohesive, what others understand. So now in this case, it's not about you at all anymore. It's about the environmental impact. And if you will do it again, you will find out something more. At some point, you will end up with this, might end up with a circle that you are like answering things what you already answered before. And this is the point when you know, okay, here I should stop, because and now I should select the scope of problem statement I want to address. But if you don't continue, then the way it works is that you go, like you follow the question lines. Okay, I skip this one. Orange, light oranges are like optional, so it depends, like if you want to go deep or not. Then you change it into problem statement, but since it is already a problem statement, then we don't have to do anything else here. And we start again, you know, what solution do we? So you had the solution there. I want to draw out a clear decision diagram for the additional developers to follow. What, where, how, and why need to structure guide. So already from this kind of thinking here, you could devise a more sophisticated solution. I think this is also a lacking actual the real I don't know, one suggestion from me, I might be also wrong, but you are here, you're also like kind of describing the problem again, but you don't want from others to answer. You should have the solution. Not like, I don't know what is the solution. this is not the solution. The solution is what your application you're providing, even if it's not perfect. But if it's imperfect, you can elaborate your plan how to make it until you solve the problem. So the missing stage is, okay, I need to research this, I need to research that.
So you definitely think I should propose to write that software instead of like trying to get to understand the technical stuff, rather do the project, rather have that problem as a problem.
I do both, but yes, I think start with, I think you need to do both, but I would also suggest to put a bit more effort into a proposal, because what you're gonna get back from this community is feedback. You're gonna get ratings, you're gonna get criticism, and you're gonna get construction criticism. And this will help you to pretty much like maybe change or pivot your already existing platform in some ways. And you might get already some people, oh, I like this idea, I like what you have, and collaboration of who actually can help you with research. They see you, oh, you need this, and you might get funded. And then they saw, oh, you got funded. Hey, do you know me? I have this skill you're missing. And then there are so many opportunities you create with like sharing the idea. If you just create the platform and not really, and sharing it later, then this journey, what you're starting right now, will just also start later, and the opportunities come with. So I would like do it parallel.
Understand. Okay, perfect. That helps a lot.
Maybe Sophia has also some ideas. He's refreshing his audio. It sucks.
Yeah, I just did. It's good now, but I missed a little bit. So. But yeah, getting a proposal in is really a great way to just start engagement, and to get some motion behind the project. And one important thing to always remember is that there's, for every person who is actively engaging with you on your proposal, there's 10 people who are lurking, right? And at some point they're gonna make their move, but it might take some time. But there's always more people paying attention to you than you actually see on an online platform, you know. So even if you put it out there and it feels like nobody's reading it and you're not getting anything, probably people are reading it, and maybe they're waiting for it to be maybe clarified at a later point, or they're going to engage in a later time. So you never know what's going to happen. And like Tivo said, you just have to start by putting it out there, and who knows what will come along the way.
From my personal experience, I also sometimes get these kind of like emails or notification, hey, check this out and check this out. And I open it, but I have it in a bookmark. So I have like a specific times when I go through all this. So yeah, there are reasons why people might not respond at the first time. We are in Cardano, you are very busy at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, I will I think I will stop recording and the workshop. I hope it helped you a little.
It helped me a lot. Yes, thank you so much.
This was quite a session for who are going to look from recording, because we went all over the place with the questions and this, but finally we did get something how the process works. Thanks to you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So I can use this Miro map going forward, this specific one.
Yes, you can actually just take that and keep on doing sticky notes, following along, adding some more stuff. And also I will be lurking in this Miro board because it's under my account, so we'll actually get emails when you add something here. And at some point when I see, or when you write, and down here there are also my contacts, the Discord, my Gmail, and LinkedIn. So when you feel like, hey, help me or clarify this, then hit me up and I will find the time to share thoughts with you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Steve. This has helped me quite a bit. I think I'll go through the whole process and just try and write a better proposal. Give it some time. Cool. Thank you so much.
Sophie, do you want to have some last words before stopping sharing?
No, me or
Sophie, I meant.
Yeah, no, not much, but yeah, just happy you went and proposed in the open source developer ecosystem. So yeah, looking forward to the refined proposal. I'll definitely be reading it.
Thank you so much.